Hello, it is time for a nickel video. I've got a box of nickels here that is circulated. Some of these enders look kind of older, so maybe that's a good sign for what's inside these. But we're going to find out right now. But before I do, I got something new to share with you. Intro, take 473. Cue music. Cue coins.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Now pick them up. I'm not rich. And before we get started here, these albums that we've been using for the Hunt and Fill series, it is time to retire them. I have a replacement for these. These have gotten kind of beat up and worn out here, and it's time for a new album. For just a tiny bit more money, I was able to find a used Dansko album. This is one of the nice ones with the plastic covers on both sides, and this one is in pretty good shape, and it goes from the start all the way up, and there's no spots to go through the through the current date here. This one does have spots for proofs, and I will be skipping the proofs unless we find them in the nickel hunts. So this is what we're going to be using for our nickel hunt and fill series going forward, and this is the start of a new hunt and fill series with a new album. All right, so let's get into the nickels, and I'll talk more about this at the end. Roll number 4. Just going through and saw I had a 1941 here. How about that? 1941 is going to be our first old nickel. This one is a Denver. Very cool. Roll number 7, and we've hit a 1957. There we go, 1957 out of Denver. Nice. This one looks like it was spent some time in the ground, got some dirt all over it or something. But now it's in my roll, and it counts as a find. Almost done with roll number 10, and I've got a rear facing mint mark here. This one has that older look to it. So let's see if this one is a 1950s or before. This one is a Denver, rear facing mint mark, 1958. All right, that is our third nickel for the hunt. We have made it to roll 12. And going through the roll, I noticed I got a 1946 sticking out here. Let's take a look. 1946 looks like it has some, looks like some lamination or damage there. I'll have to take a good look at it. But this one is a Philadelphia. 1946 out of Philadelphia with something going on there. Most likely it's damaged, but it could potentially be just a small lamination there in front of the neck. But either way, that is a 1946. Nice find there. Roll number 14. I've come across the 1956. How about that? This one is a Philadelphia. There we go. 1956 out of Philadelphia. Very cool. Roll 18. We have a 1954 here. See, 1954 out of Denver. That's another find to go up here with the rest. I've made it to roll 22, and I got a 1957, and this one is in pretty decent shape for being this old. Still quite a bit of detail on that. That is a Denver. A little circulated, but much better than the average coin we find. And it goes there with the other one. Moving on to roll 23. Got a 1940 here. Let's see, 1940 out of Philadelphia. This is more of the common circulation you'll see on these. Looks like our oldest nickel yet. Hopefully we find some older ones. Roll 26. Got a 1941 here. This one is a Philadelphia. Another dirty beat up nickel. Probably another ground find. Another nickel that spent some time in the dirt until someone picked it up and cleaned it off and put it back to the bank. Roll number 27. I've got a find here. Got a 1958. 1958, yep, 1958. This one is a Philadelphia. Cool, and right behind it we've got a rear facing mint mark. That might be a 64, but let's take a look. What date is this one? 1960. Not quite old enough to be considered a find in my books, but it is an old nickel. Roll 30. We've got another 1958. Yep, 1958 out of Denver. I think that's our third 58. Looks like it. There we go. Roll number 34, and I've got one towards the back here that has that older look to it. Just that older look. That like slightly brown gunmetalish color there. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it does have that older look. Let's find out if that is an old one or not. 1956. Yep, that is one of the old ones. This was a Denver. All right, that is a fun little find there. And I think it goes right there. Making my way through roll number 40. I've got another one that has that older look to it. Let's take a look. 1949. This one is a Philadelphia. Nice. 1949. We are now on roll 41 and come across 1948 here. Here we go, 1948. This one's a Philly as well. Nice. It's another older nickel there, if I can say it right. Roll number 44 here. Looks like we got a 1950s nickel. Yep, 1951. This one, ooh, San Francisco. I don't get as many San Franciscos here as I probably would if I lived further west. So that's nice to find a San Francisco. Well, we are done hunting these nickels. We ended up with 15 old nickel finds here. 9 from the 50s and 6 from the 40s for a total of 15 here. I do have a bunch of nickels set off to the side, being that we're using new albums. I've got a ton of them to look at, compare, and see what I'm going to do. So stick around for that as I break that down here next. And here is our album for our nickel hunts going forward. This is the Dansko album. This is probably the best quality type albums you can get for coins currently on the market. So this is nice find to get. I picked it up used. It does have some issues with it, but it is still in pretty good shape. So I've got some, I've went through the nickels, I plugged them in here. Let's take a look, see what we got going on here. I'm gonna try to hold out for some nicer nickels, but I'm gonna do it on a coin by coin basis on which ones I add in and which ones I don't. So let's break this down really quick here. Starting out, we had the 1940 out of Philly, and then the 1941 S. Well, not the cleanest one. These older ones are a bit harder for me to come by, so I'm gonna put in the nicest ones I can find and probably upgrade those as they come. Next up, we got the 46 out of Philly, the 48 out of Philly. That one I almost didn't put in here, but I decided it was decent enough to hold the spot for now. Hopefully you get a nicer one soon, but that is there. And then 1949 out of Philly. Next up is a 1951 out of San Francisco. And then 1954 out of Denver. This one's a little bit rough, but still we're in the older nickels. So 1956 out of Philly, 1957 out of Denver. A little dirty, but still pretty decent. Pretty decent details there, and on this 58 as well. Then 1962 out of Denver. That was pretty clean nickel, pretty decent. Also this 1963 out of Philadelphia. Both of these are a little bit more worn than I was hoping for, but these nickels up to their 1964 are a little bit harder for me to find in nicer shape, so I went ahead and plugged those two in. And then we had a pretty nice overall 1965 here. That's gonna be hard for me to find another one that's nicer, but hopefully we will soon. Then we jump all the way to 70 out of Denver, decent. 71 and 71 out of Denver. Both of these are pretty good, still a bit dirty, but pretty good details. And then jumping all the way down to this 1977. It's got some good details. Unfortunately, it has some surface dirt and stuff on it, but otherwise that's a good spot fill for now. Next up, 1980 out of Denver. Fill in that spot. That one's pretty decent. 1981 out of Philly and Denver. Denver one is quite decent there, and the Philly one is not bad itself. And then we have a really nice 1982 overall. The 1982 and 83s are hard to come by in nice shape because there were no mint sets, so finding one that decent out of circulation, it's not bad at all. 1983 out of Denver, pretty solid there. 1984 out of Philly, a little bit more scratch than I was looking for, but that is pretty good details there on that one. 85 Philly and Denver. Again, a little bit lower quality than I was looking for, but these are pretty decent and pretty strong nickels to start with, and we'll see how long it takes to replace those. And then 1987 out of Denver, except for the dirt on the surface of this one, it is in pretty good shape. 1989 out of Philly, a little bit scratched up, a few dings, but overall a decent coin. 1990 out of Denver. Again, Denvers are harder for me to find in decent shape, being this far east as I am. So that one is pretty good. I'm probably going to be a while before I get a replacement for that one. And then pretty solid 1994 out of Denver. This is where the coins are going to start picking up in quality quite a bit compared to the previous coins. 1995 out of Denver. Quite nice being Denvers. They are harder for me to find. 1996 out of Philadelphia and Denver. These are pretty decent, good quality. Surface scratching is higher than I would like, but those are pretty good fills. The 96 out of Philly has some nice light blue toning to it. And then 1997 out of Philadelphia and Denver. These two also have that bit more heavier layer of dirt on them that most of the coins I got today have. These are pretty nice shape, except for, the surface scratching and stuff that you usually come across with circulated coins. And then next up, we had a pretty nice 1999 out of Philly. Not perfect, still got surface scratching on it, but this one is pretty nice overall. And then 2003 out of Philly. This one is a little bit more scratched up than I would like, but I decided to go ahead and include it because it was pretty decent overall, and the early 2000s have been a bit more problematic for me to find in nicer shape in the coin rolls. Probably will get an upgrade soon, but until then, there we go. Then we're on to the 2004 and 2005 Lewis and Clark series. This one is Philadelphia. Got a little bit of dirt on it. I'm sure we'll find a better one soon. Then we have the Ocean in View. This one is really nice on the reverse. Downverse is a little bit more beat up than I would like, but it's just, some slight surface scratching. But that is a pretty nice one. And then we have a nice slightly toned buffalo. So there we go. That's the 2005 Philly. Then we get to 2006 Philly. That one is, I think, better than any of the others we found in the last album. So I decided to include that here, as well as the Denver, and the Denver is pretty nice overall as well. And then a lower mintage 2009 out of Denver. This one's more rough and scratched and dirty than I would like, but these ones are a bit hard to come by in nicer shape, so I'm going to fill the 2009 Philly and Denver as I come across those. Then we're on to the final page. The Denvers put in a little bit lower quality than I was quite wanting to accept, because I don't find a lot of good quality Denvers. So 2012 Denver, 2013 Philadelphia and Denver. Denver is a little worse for wear, but hopefully we find a nice one, but I'm not going to hold my breath on any of these Denvers anytime soon. 2014 out of Denver. The Philadelphia is quite nice. The Denver is actually in pretty good shape there as well. And then we had a really nice 2015 Denver. Surface layer scratching from circulation, but overall in good shape. We jump down to 2018 out of Philly. It's pretty nice there. And these these are pretty in nice shape for the rest of these. 2019 out of Denver. 2020 out of Philadelphia. 2021 out of Philly and Denver, both in pretty good shape. 2022 Philly and Denver, And these are pretty nice overall coins right there. And then 2023, couple of nice coins for Philadelphia and Denver there as well. That is all for the fills for this first nickel album. So there we go with this album, starting out with 57 spots filled in this first hunt. Pretty solid start, I believe so. Some of the nickels are a little bit lower than I had hoped to find, but these are all circulated coming out of bank boxes and stuff. So I'm going to take what I can get. Hopefully we find some upgrades for some of the more rough ones, but I think we have a pretty good start here so far. All right, well, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up, helps me out, and drop that comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have a great day. And I want to give a very special thank you to all the viewers who have signed up as members. Thank you very much for going above and beyond to help support the channel. I very, very much appreciate it. If anyone is interested in becoming a member, feel free to check out the link below. Again, thank you very much for your support. Well, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you click on that link right there, it'll help me out. And then I have a couple videos over here that is recommended. So if you would like to watch another one, I would definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have a great day.